You're listening to the Patriot Nation podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation podcast, of course, brought to you by FanDuel, the official sports wagering partner of CLNS Media. Go to fanduel.com/Boston to sign up today. And it's your boy Pat Lane here, as always, with my guy Matt St. Jean. Matt, it is finally almost the offseason. One more football game to go. What's up, Dad? One more football game to go, and we are I'm ready for it. I am ready for the offseason.
I don't know if it's just me, but I can't hear you.
Are you serious?
Oh, I got you now.
Okay. I don't know what happened.
It wasn't my headphones. It wasn't coming out of the speakers either. But hey, we're live. We're here.
There we go. Sometimes that happens live. It's the way it goes. So, all right. Well, I'm talking. People out there can hear me, I hope. I assume. I can hear me. So,
yeah.
And again,
I got you loud and clear now. I don't know.
Okay.
I heard you before the show. We started, and I had nothing. So I don't know what that was. But
all right. Well, that's good to hear. Well, that's how we're doing right now, boys and girls. It's falling apart like the Patriot season right now.
Oh, man.
And, but we're here. We're here. We're almost there. It's the way it goes. So let's get into the coaching stuff first, and then we'll get into the game afterwards. Mike Pellegrino staying, right? I think the offense is pretty much done at this point. Seems like the defense is everyone except for linebackers. Well, maybe we'll go to right tower. You never know. And then I think running backs coach. I don't believe has been filled, and I think tight ends coach hasn't been filled.
And
yet.
Wide receivers
and receiver. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, those are the three. And I think we've seen Chad O'Shea's name get floated out there just because he has the Browns connections and the New England connections. I don't know if there's any real traction to it. And
right.
The running backs coach, tight end coach, I think you can get those from a lot of different places. I think wide receivers coach is the one there where you really want to get that filled out. But
yes,
you got most of the leadership, most of the positions filled at this point. You feel good because I think I like the decision makers here. I like where they're going with it. I feel confident. I like the front office ads that they made as well. Mm-hmm. So I'm liking it. And it seems like it's pretty clear Elliot Wolf, they're not going to hand out the GM title, but the guy at the head of the front office right now is Elliot Wolf. And I like that. I think there's kind of a common trend here of guys with New England connections, but who have some outside perspective. And I think that is exactly what we all wanted.
Yeah, and I think that you're totally right about that. I'm excited to see where Wolf takes it. I was nervous about, it being just Gerard Mayo, but it's not. It feels like it's going to be a team approach and a team effort, but that Wolf is going to be the guy that's calling the shots. And I think I prefer that to Mayo just because, I think that it's a situation where he has more experience evaluating talent, right? So I want the guy that is an experienced, seasoned talent evaluator more than, hey, I like Gerard Mayo, leader of men. He's going to be, the Dan Campbell, not that he's Dan Campbell, but he's going to be the Dan Campbell type of head coach where he's not necessarily an expert in anything, but he's the leader. He's the guy. He's the CEO, basically, letting the offensive coordinator do his thing, letting the defensive coordinator do his thing, and just kind of helping out in all facets of the game. And then the team is kind of molded around what he wants. And I think at least, I'm way more excited about that than I was. They were just going to say, oh, Mayo's just the guy and we're moving on. I wasn't excited about that. I'm a little bit more intrigued about this iteration.
Yeah, I am as well. And I like that it seems to be collaborative too. I forget who it was who posted it, but it might have been Andrew Callahan, said that the four who have been there for the interviews too, for the coordinator positions, it's been Gerard Mayo, Elliot Wolf, Matt Groh, and I'm totally forgetting her name. Robin Glazer.
Robin Glazer. Yep.
Yeah. And that's like, all right, this seems that seems to be like the four that are heading this thing. You got the head coach, the guy who's running your front office and in charge of what seems like your veteran additions, the guy who's
Right.
going to be behind your whole scouting operation, it looks like, with Matt Groh. And I think Robin Glazer's exact role here is a little bit unclear, but she's been with the organization for a while. She's experienced on the business side, and she may be in some way, based on what we've heard about her role in the past, she may almost be the HR person of the group.
Yeah.
To
Kinda seems that
handle
way,
the
doesn't it?
business side of hiring somebody as a coach, because it is still a job. This is a
Right.
company hiring somebody.
Yep. Yeah, and I think the big thing for me, and you kind of mentioned it already, like a lot of them are Patriots guys, but they also have experience elsewhere, right? Wolf has dealt with a lot of these people in Green Bay, right? And so they're kind of Green Bay people, or they're people from different trees, and you're getting a lot of different types of people in. Now, I don't love Ben McAdoo. I don't love Ben McAdoo, but like pairing him with Alex Van Pelt, I think isn't a terrible thing. If we had hired Ben McAdoo as the offensive coordinator, I wouldn't be happy about it.
I'd
But
be
we
very
didn't,
upset.
right? We hired him, as a consultant or as, an assistant, right? And I think that's a whole new ball game, right? And so you can look at it and say, okay, I don't mind that. And so, look, it's not perfect. I'm sure there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be warts. And, I think Keegan was tweeted it out today, and he's like, look, the most of the staff is staying, right? Mike Pellegrino, they announced, was staying. Brian Belichick is staying, which is great. But I'll tell you, and he said, which he made a great point, which is true. Steve Belichick, gone. Bill Belichick, gone. Like, this defense has a lot of the same coaches in charge, which is great, and that's a good thing. Bill Belichick might be the greatest game planner in the history of the NFL. He's not there anymore, right? Steve Belichick's been calling the plays on defense. He's not there anymore, right? And so, and again, maybe Steve and Gerard was a collaborative effort, but either way, Gerard's not calling the plays on defense anymore anyways, right? So those are the things that, while I'm excited about it, and I'm glad they kept the status quo on defense mostly, it's not like they're not guaranteed to be a top 5 or 10 defense just because they kept the same coaches.
No. And the personnel moves are going to go into that too. Like, we've been so focused on the offense here, but the defense has some personnel moves to take care of. First of all is Kyle Duggar. Second of all is keeping Matt Judon around, I think, here. Third is figuring out if you need a free safety, because that's a spot where, if Kyle Duggar walks, you definitely need one. If he stays, you still might want a third safety in there. Maybe you want it to be Jalen Mills. Maybe you want it to be somebody else, however you want to do it. Depth at corner is going to be big. Depth at edge rusher. They got to fill out that roster and do it with these new guys in mind. And I think it's going to be, same style, different chefs. Same ingredients, different chefs, I think, is kind of what we're going to see going forward on defense. And that means it's going to be something that tastes similar to what we've seen, but it's not going to be the same. And it shouldn't be. We don't want these guys trying to emulate what Bill did. We want these guys doing what they do, which they should be good at if they're coming in here. So I'm very, I think no matter what, the offense is going to be a work in progress next year. The defense, though, I'm excited to see what they do, because the ingredients are very good, and I want to see how they use them.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so that's, we'll see. And I think the offense needed to be revamped, which is what we got, right? We got a total revamping of the offense. The defense, again, kind of keeping status quo, but it's not going to be as simple as just plugging it in and continuing forward. It just isn't that way, unfortunately. And so, it'll be okay, but it's a work in progress, put it that way, right? And so, and I think we need to remember that moving forward, because it's just not, we can't expect what we've been getting, right? And hopefully we will get what we've been getting, but we can't expect that going in with a guy who's never called plays on defense. And, we got a lot of the same people there, but like, it's not all the same. And again, we're losing both Belichicks. And so that's, 2 out of 3 Belichicks at least.
And I'm sure next year, no matter what, we're going to be better in some ways than we were last year, because when it's different, that means you're going to be better in some areas. You're going to do a couple things better. It's going to look different. And there's going to be something there. And it's also, I'm sure there's going to be 1 or 2 things that this team does worse next year, whether it's in the details, whether it's personnel thing, whatever it is. And that's life in the NFL. That's life as a rebuilding team here. and there's going to be the novelty of the new things that are good, and then the reactions to the new things that are bad that hadn't been bad before. And it'll take a little bit of time. We'll see how this goes, but excited to see what happens. By the way, Kevin Stefanski just won head coach of the year.
Yes. Yep. Yes, he did. So Kevin, and the details on that are fascinating because Stefanski tied in overall points. He tied DeMeco Ryans 165 to 165. Wasn't even close. Dan Campbell was third with 33 points. But the way they do it is they tally number
first
place, second place, third place. Stefanski had 21 first place votes. DeMeco Ryans had 20 first place votes. And so because they got the same amount, Stefanski got it over DeMeco Ryans.
I would have given that to DeMeco in a heartbeat.
I can't believe DeMeco didn't win it, to be completely honest with you.
Well, and if you need the tiebreak, I don't know when they vote on this, but if they vote now-ish, the tiebreaker should be that playoff game, no? Where the Texans beat the crap out of the Browns?
You would think. One would think. It is only a regular season award, right?
They probably vote before that.
And I can see the Stefanski stuff because of all the injuries, of everything they dealt with this year, and the fact that they were able to make the playoffs anyways. Just the fact they made the playoffs is impressive. But again, you look at the Texans, and by the way, for the second year in a row, the same team won offensive and defensive rookie of the year because Stroud, of course, won it, and then Will Anderson won as well. So, that's
been Christian Gonzalez's award.
Oh man, Mike Hadley tweeted that out, and bro, let me tell you something. I got I think I got plus. What did I get? Plus 1,600 or something like that on Gonzalez at the beginning of the year. Stupid odds, crazy odds. I'm like, this is fantastic. So I put a few dollars on that, and of course he goes down and gets hurt, and I'm like, come on, man. It's just raw. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? But I firmly believe if he had played all year, that he could have won it. And Thad's brother, we know, is an Eagles fan. He's upset that Jalen Carter didn't win it. And so, which I understand, but I thought Jalen Carter
played good moments. I don't think the consistency was there for him.
That's the thing. He had a good amount of plays, and there was some push. I mean, not publicly, but there was some push on part. I'm a big PMT guy, and PMT was pushing Kalijah Cansey on Tampa, who had a solid year. Again, not defensive rookie of the year solid, but a solid year, a bunch of tackle for loss and stuff like that. So he played well.
He did a good job there. But it felt kind of wide open for defensive rookie of the year too. There wasn't one super standout. So
Anderson, I feel put together a few good weeks right at the end of the year, and that's usually what wins you the award if it's close, because that's what sticks in everyone's mind is the end of the year.
And they were able to scheme around him too. I think how well he played allowed other people to do stuff, so it wasn't always showing up in the stats for him. And he was a top defensive guy for a reason too.
Yep.
He was very good coming out and very good his first year. And I think I still have some questions about how high the ceiling is, but he's a high quality edge defender already for Houston. If he doesn't get any better, that's still okay.
Agreed. Yep. So anyways, so that's that with the NFL awards. Of course, the Patriots didn't win anything clearly. And so that's just, it is what it is, right? Maybe next year. Maybe whoever they draft at number 3 will win Offensive Rookie of the Year the next year. You never know.
And that's, you got to get a little bit lucky. Did they announce Offensive Rookie? Oh, they did.
Was Stroud, yeah.
But I mean, the other guy in that was Puka. And
correct.
He was around for anybody to grab. So the Patriots could grab their Offensive Rookie of the Year next year, and he might not even be the guy they take with the number 3 overall pick.
That is quite true.
Although I am partial to the draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and have him, immediately be a top 16 wide receiver in the NFL and be Offensive Rookie of the Year. That would be nice. Well,
what's interesting is that, Dad's saying that he thinks it should have been Puka. And I think that, the problem is that wide receivers don't typically win awards like that. Now, if you didn't have, for instance, if Bryce Young was the best quarterback, right? If no other good quarterbacks were drafted, right? Mm-hmm. And Bryce Young was the guy. Well, he's not winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. So then in that case, someone else wins it, right? But I feel like they always pay the difference to the wide receiver to the quarterback, right? Quarterback is the one that kind of always gets the shine first, and then it goes to the guy. Now, obviously, that's the case with MVPs. Maybe not necessarily with Offensive Rookie of the Year, but it's, and James points out Laporta as well, and Laporta is another guy that could have deserved it, right? And I think that Puka would have won it over Laporta, but I think that's a situation where I look at it and say they're always going to kind of defer to the quarterback as long as you have a quarterback that plays good enough to deserve it.
Well, not only good enough. I think Stroud had a historic rookie season. This is probably the best rookie year for quarterback since like RG3 maybe.
Yeah, probably.
It's in that tier, and I think the fact that it was that good, because Puka's was also historic. True. And you don't have those two, and I think Laporta's in the conversation. The issue for Laporta was, he's like he's got a gold medal worthy performance behind two, record breakers, essentially, if we're talking Olympics. It's just, that's the way it goes sometimes. I think Stroud is the right pick there, even though I love Puka.
Yeah, I agree. So, and Baker won most improved player.
I'm glad that's an award. Yeah.
Yes. And so I agree with that. I don't know if they've announced comeback player of the year yet. I assume it's going to be DeMar Hamlin, just because he died and then is back in the NFL. He really didn't play, but he also died on the field. So it's hard to argue with that. And James talks about Laporta. I think when you talk about just the straight numbers of Laporta, 86 catches for almost 900 yards and 10 touchdowns. Now, Gronk had 10 touchdowns as a rookie as well, but certainly didn't have 86 catches. He changed that offense. And so, I do consider that a historic year for a tight end. But when you compare it to Stroud and Puka, it just loses out to those guys.
Yeah. And if you're Detroit, you got to feel really good about Laporta, because I think the thing too for them is Jameson Williams has been, I think, a little bit disappointing. Not that he's been bad, but he has been kind of he's boom or bust with everything. Every time he touches the ball,
and he can't stay on the field or even get on the field for that matter.
And he was your first rounder, but to get Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, neither were the first round pick,
right?
I mean,
correct.
You've nailed those two. Which again, I think you're a Patriots fan sitting here, and you look at that, and it's all right, you want to rebuild this offense, you make the right picks, you can fix the receiving issues this season. That is doable. Quarterback, I don't know. Offensive line, I'm not sure how long that's going to take. Receiver, you make the right picks, it's fixed by the end of this season. Because you already have Demario Douglas, who I think you like. And, if you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and you hit on somebody in the way they hit on Amon-Ra St. Brown on day 2, or that was early day 3, I think. You have your wide receivers 1, 2, and 3 set. And
they are. That team is loaded offensively.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead. I was going to say, I feel like they could still add something too, because they could still use an X receiver in there somewhere. And I bet we're going to see them make a move for it, because for as good as the offense is, it's not talent wise at the level where San Francisco is. And it's all right, you can add that next piece. That's how you get over the hump. And that's how, the next time you play that game, it's in your own building.
Correct. Yep. And then Bill O'Brien, it looks like Bill O'Brien's going to BC. That's what it sounds. That's what it sounds about. And so, and Billy O, of course, was going to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and then never actually went there. BC, once Jeff Hafley left, he became very, very quickly the number one guy, and it looks as though he's going to be the head coach there next year. So, I think that's interesting to me.
Turn BC into a good program, maybe?
Well, and a no-brainer for him. An absolute no-brainer for him. He turned Penn State around when it looked like that was an impossible situation that he walked into, and he turned them around pretty quickly. And, he's got family in the area. Why not stay in the area, right? And so that's one of the main reasons he wanted to come back. And so he gets to stay. He gets to stay in New England and be the head coach of a college team, which, again, he crushed last time he was doing.
Yeah. I also think it's interesting to see, Halfley leave from
Yeah.
BC. And from everything I've heard, and this is as somebody who's done stuff on the college basketball side, and here's the basketball, not just the football. I don't think this is going to be the last time we see somebody trying to get out of the college job and into the pro job, because the college job is a lot more difficult now than it was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that like I'm pro NIL and I'm pro player movement, and I love what this new era has done for college athletes and what they can do. But the fact that every college athlete constantly is essentially on a 1-year contract at whatever their school is, and every single season requires re-recruiting all of your players to come back, while also actively recruiting players from other schools, and while recruiting incoming freshmen at a high school, and you got the JUCO level and stuff. For college head coaches right now, it is too much. It is too much on their plates. They are, working crazy hours every single day of the year at this point. There are no breaks in that schedule at any point. And what the future of college football holds is going to be very interesting here for what it then means for the NFL development pipeline. That's
totally true. And one of
watch.
the things, and like you pointed out, one of the things is that you're not just recruiting against other schools. You're also recruiting against yourself, right? Like, if you have a freshman that doesn't see a path to playing in the next year or two, they might say, well, I'm going to jump ship and go somewhere else where I have a chance to play and be a star right away. And you're like, no, buddy, pay your dues for a year. And, we'll get you on the field a little bit as a sophomore. And by the time you're a junior, right? And at this point, obviously, you've been redshirted maybe your freshman year. You get redshirted your freshman year. Sophomore year, your redshirt freshman year, you like don't play a ton. And it's like, hey, that next year, you're going to be the guy. They may not want to wait. They might say, no, I'm out of here, dude. I can be the guy right now. And so, you have to.
And they'll get paid some money to do it, too. You can't blame the kid for doing it.
Right. But that's part of the problem right now. And unfortunately, right now, it's the wild, wild west out there, right? And I saw somebody tweet out, which is totally true. Like, you look at what happened to Josh Gordon in the NFL and the fact that weed's now legal. And you don't, you're not getting suspended for weed anymore. And Josh Gordon, it's like his career's over because, and they were, I understand there were a lot more issues going on than just weed. Yes. Okay. Like, let's be honest about that. But ultimately he was suspended the first time because of weed. Right. So fine. And then someone else was tweeting like, I don't know, some college kid, some college freshman, I think, bought like a Lamborghini, like a brand new, like, $180,000 Lamborghini or something stupid like that. And someone was like, give Reggie Bush his Heisman back. Like, I mean, it's really like, it's one of those things where it's like, yes, it was illegal back then, but it's legal now and they all doing it. And it's like, and there's no way to know. Okay, well, yeah, sure. It's an NIL deal, but where's that money coming from? Is that money coming from a booster? Is that money coming from a legitimate company? Like,
Yeah, it's tough. Well, it's funny you mentioned the weed thing because Zach Edey, who is the number one player in college basketball, I think 7'4", star at Purdue, was spotted at a dispensary somewhere in, I'm assuming, Indiana, where that's where Purdue is. And somebody tweeted a picture of that, which that happens a decade ago, and that's on the front page of newspapers. That happens today, and that's something that goes viral on Twitter for a little bit, and nobody sees other than that. Interesting to see, how the world changes. And they mentioned the Josh Gordon thing. Calvin Johnson was on a podcast this week talking about how in his last season he had to get high before games because his body couldn't suit up otherwise. It hurt too much. Which I also think is a little bit of a comment on how brutal it is to play football. It's something we should be taken seriously when we hear something like that. But also, Josh Gordon's got to hear that and be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. Right. And it's totally true. You know what I mean? And so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I just think that, it is becoming, it's a new ball game. It's a new ball game. And so we'll see how long Billy O lasts there. But good for him.
Well,
good for him.
Yeah. And it's also, let's not act like it hasn't been this way to a degree for some point. True. People were getting paid. Now it's everyone. So it's out in the open and we're seeing the, right. I can tell you somebody who went to college that you see the cars that the basketball players are driving around. And I know a lot of them came from wealthy families, but they didn't all come from Range Rover wealthy families. I can tell you that much.
God damn it.
What?
God I'm telling you, man, these guys can't get it right. They cannot get it right. The Pro Football Hall of Fame class just came out.
Oh boy. Oh, no. Well, I'm assuming that means no Rodney.
One name I'm extremely happy about on there. I can't believe Rodney.
Right. Read it for us, Pat.
Julius Peppers.
Good one. I like that.
Dwight Freeney.
Okay.
Andre Johnson.
Okay.
Patrick Willis.
Okay.
Steve McMichael.
Who?
I don't know. Randy
Older guy.
Gradishar.
Oh, I think these might be the older ones who got in. Yeah.
And the name I'm most excited about, Devin Hester.
Let's go.
So Devin Hester belongs on the list. In my opinion, Rodney belongs in there before Patrick Willis gets in there.
Yes, that's Rodney the one
that probably belongs on there before Andre Johnson. It's close. Yeah. But in my opinion, he belongs on there before Andre Johnson. And I would even argue Dwight Freeney. Like, Freeney was very good for a long time, but like
Rodney and Freeney are about the same level. I don't really have an issue with either one ahead of the other. Andre Johnson played later. Patrick Willis played way later.
I don't know what you want. And by the way, let's not forget, man. Didn't Patrick Willis retire at 30?
He retired earlier than most. He doesn't have the longevity that others do. And he's great. Like, he's a Hall of Famer for me, no doubt. But I don't think he's a slam dunk ahead of Rodney Harrison.
Correct. And that's the issue. He played 8 years. Now, he finished in 8 years. He finished with 8 interceptions, 16 forced fumbles, 20 and a half sacks, and 950 tackles. I mean, that's exceptionally good, right? He had over 100 tackles every single year except for 2. His last year in 2011, and he was incredible. No one's saying he's not incredible. But what Rodney did statistically, he's a top 5 safety of all time. And he's still not in the Hall of Fame. He's still not there. And I just don't understand what has to get done. And that mentions no Antonio Gates, and that's true. Antonio Gates is not in there, which is true. But I'm sorry. Like, there is no reason. There's no legitimate reason that Rodney Harrison's not in the Hall of Fame. Zero. Nothing.
Yeah. You know what has to change? You know what has to change? It needs to be different media people. It's got to be in it. Rodney might have to get in as one of the seniors or whatever, because it might have to be, younger journalists saying, "Oh, he was so good." And when people say, "What about the penalties?" they're young enough that they say, "Oh, it was a different time."
Right.
Because it seems like these guys aren't going to put him in. And there's no hate to Patrick Willis, because Patrick Willis deserves to begin. He's a Hall of Fame level player. There's no doubt about that. But
correct, yes. Man. And by the way, Steve McMichael, my dad just texted me and pointed this out. I was going to look it up. Drafted by the Patriots. Left the Patriots after the 1980 season. Went to the Bears. Beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and was a first-team All-Pro in 1985. Played nose tackle, D tackle. And, doesn't have 90 finishes a year, would finish his career with 95 sacks. Pretty damn good for a defensive tackle, right? But played a long time, played all the way until 1994. So obviously a great player. And no, I'm not taking anything away from people. I'm not saying that these guys don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. These guys are all legitimate Hall of Famers. I'm not saying that none of these guys should be in there. What I'm saying is that there's maybe 2 guys on this list, maybe 3, that absolutely 100% deserve to be in before Rodney Harrison. And that's it. There's no excuse that he's not in. And it's become a black mark on the league. In my opinion, it's become a black mark on the league. Just the fact that they can't get it right. It pisses me off. Because they don't like him. Because they don't like him. And they didn't like the way he played. And that's bullshit.
Yeah. But yeah, no. At least Devin got in. I think Devin getting in is a good omen for Slater eventually, who I think should do it. And Hester deserves it,
100%
he was
it.
And the opening kickoff in the Super Bowl,
it's incredible.
That was the only time in that entire game where anybody thought the Bears were going to win. That was like, oh, we might do it, and then it was pretty quickly squished.
Devin Hester was so good. He was so good that the Colts were willing to give them the ball at the 30 or 40-yard line every single time. They literally either kicked it out of bounds or kicked it to an up back at the 25-yard line. They were like, we are not letting him return another one at all. They literally kicked it out of bounds twice.
Yep.
They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And so that to me is enough to be like, they literally said, bro, drive 30 yards and we'll give you a field goal every time. And they couldn't do it. But like,
which part of that was the Bears offense,
100%. But they were so scared of Devin Hester. They looked at it and said, he's the best player. He's the guy who has the best chance to score a touchdown. And that's incredible. Again, my favorite fun fact from that year is that both the national championship, and we've talked about this before, but both the national championship and the Super Bowl both started with a kick return for a touchdown, and both teams lost, which is so interesting. The other one was Ted Ginn at Ohio State, lost to Florida that year. Ted Ginn hurt his ankle celebrating the return touchdown and then didn't play the rest of the game. So just weird coincidence on that one.
Yeah, that is. You texted me that the other day too.
Yeah.
Like, wow, how do you know that?
You know what? I don't even know how I know it, to be honest with you, because I'm not even a big college football fan. But I think I remember when it happened. It was 2007, because it was 2006 season, but it was like January of 2007, and I had remembered Ted Ginn returning the opening kick for a touchdown, and I was like, "That's so cool! I can't imagine that's ever happened before." And then it happened again in the Super Bowl the next month, and I was like, "Wait, what the hell?" And so it's just stuck with me ever since. So,
oh my goodness.
But anyways, so look, it is what it is. And again, I'm not taking away from these guys. I'm not saying these guys don't deserve it. They all deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. They're all deserving of being in the Hall of Fame. Do the right thing and vote Rodney Harrison in the Hall of Fame. Like, just do the right thing. It pisses me off. And so I just, it is what it is. But I just, yeah. What are you going to do? So anyways, all right, you want to take a break and then we'll talk about the Super Bowl?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's do it. Break time, and then we'll go to the Super Bowl. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks. For me, it's got to be the buffalo chicken dip. That's my #1 with the Fritos. Come on now. And placing some super bets as well. My #1 bet of the weekend, offensive lineman to score a touchdown, because that's just hilarious. That would be incredible. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W, or 2, or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which player will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers, join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/Boston to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/Boston. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and present and in Mass. Hope is here. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. gamblinghelpma.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support. Play it safe from the start. GameSenseMA.com or call 1-800-GAM-1234.
I got a question for you here, Pat.
Okay.
That ad read, you say buffalo chicken dip with the Fritos?
Oh, you're right, baby. Oh, yeah.
Are you saying you make the buffalo chicken dip with Fritos?
No.
Scoop. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Maybe that wasn't clear, but I scooped the buffalo chicken dip with the Fritos.
Okay.
Fantastic.
That I can get by. We're doing buffalo chicken dip here. We're gonna do a taco dip.
Nice.
Too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, is it a hot taco dip or a cold taco dip? That matters.
Okay, although I'm thinking about getting both. Because I got a recipe for a taco dip that's like, the ground beef and cheese and all that. But one of my friends who's a vegetarian is coming over, and Costco makes like a 7-layer dip, which is like everything but the ground beef, is their 7-layer dip is unbelievable. So I haven't.
I'll tell you what.
I haven't told my girlfriend yet that we may be making a venture over to Costco on a Saturday to go get 7-layer dip. We'll see if she's excited about that. But
cool adventure, you know what I mean? And then you got to throw in the Papa Bear seasoning. Come on now.
Yes, it's my dad's. Yes, Papa Bear seasoning. PapaBearSpice.com. I should know that website off the top of my head.
God.
But
James, I'm not on commission. As a matter of fact, I'm so not on a commission with Fritos that I prefer the quote unquote Fritos from Trader Joe's. So I don't actually eat it with Fritos. I eat it with the Trader Joe's Fritos because I think those are better. But
I'll have to try them.
By the way, if you want to hear the most Patriots thing of all time, and this just explains the Patriots before Kraft and Belichick got here to a T. Okay, Steve McMichael, who, as we mentioned, is now in the Hall of Fame. Okay, Steve McMichael, after his first year with the Patriots, only played 6 games. Okay, had only 5 tackles. I believe he was a later round pick. He was where the heck was he? In the 3rd round. So 3rd round pick, not like super late, but a 3rd round pick. Now a Hall of Famer, is a college football Hall of Famer, was cut by the Patriots before his 2nd season and just went on to be a Hall of Fame player. No big deal. So not ideal. He gave up after 1 year.
Not great.
So yeah, that's just,
Yeah. By the way,
also he has. I didn't realize this, but he has ALS. I didn't know that.
Oh wow!
So diagnosed in 2021.
Well, good to get him in now.
And I'll tell you, man, in 1984 is what he said in Chicago. Here you go. Thank God New England got rid of me. Some teams, they want you to have a certain image. Other teams like this one, they just want you to get down and dirty. I'm really proud to be a Bear. The Patriots, yeah, they thought I was a little weird, and I guess I am. But here they don't care as long as you play hard. The town, the coach, the team is Steve McMichael. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Yikes.
Yes, yep.
Not ideal.
Pre-Kraft, pre-Bill.
Woo!
Yeah. Pre-Brady.
Yeah.
Fox just tweeted out a list of some of the guys who are Hall of Fame eligible for next year. They got 5 guys here. You want to just give me a quick yes or no on if you think they end up getting in at some point?
Got it. Let's hear it.
The first one, Eli Manning.
Not first ballot. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Not first ballot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I don't have an issue with Eli in the Hall of Fame, honestly. I don't think he deserves it for the same reason that like Joe Namath deserved to
100%. That is the biggest upset in the history of the Super Bowl. He won MVP that game. They were losing and he drove down to win the game. And the helmet catch obviously is a great catch. It's an unbelievable play by him as well. So like he beat Brady twice in the Super Bowl. That's all you need to know. He beat Brady twice in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And he was like a good quarterback too. He wasn't like he was
mediocre.
Consistent.
Fine.
He was kind of consistently in like the top half of the league, but never like a top 5 guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So I do think he gets in, and I'm okay with it. Next one's Luke Kuechly.
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Eventually. I just feel like
Patrick Willis, because
he's current, and Patrick Willis is pretty current too, and I feel like I don't think Willis is a first ballot, although he might be close to a first ballot at this point. I'd have to look back and see how long he's been retired, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kuechly makes it in fairly quickly, just because of what he's done, right? And the fact that he was a phenomenal player. Again, retired, young. He only played 7 years, Patrick Willis is not a first ballot Hall of Famer, so it might take Kuechly a few years, but I wouldn't be surprised.
He'll get in. By the way, while we're doing this, James asked, bigger upset than the first Pats win, the Giants won? It isn't by betting line.
Betting line, it isn't. No.
Giants Patriots was 12.5. I just looked this up, and Patriots Rams was 14 points. I believe the only one bigger than those two was Jets Colts in Super Bowl 3. I
believe that it is only because they were 9-7. The Patriots were 16-0. Like they were 16-0.
But the Giants also played the Patriots close in the regular season too. I think it.
And the Patriots played the Rams close in the regular season.
But the Patriots played that game. That was the 0-1 one wasn't as close as the Patriots.
They lost by like 10 points. It was pretty close. Pretty sure.
0-1 was 7 points. It was 24-17. And
so 7 points.
And Pats Giants regular season was 3. It was 38-35.
I mean, I understand that, but I'm not. I'm saying like the Patriots played the Rams close and kept them like 24
Oh
points
yeah,
isn't a ton. You know
no,
what I mean? Like it's not
they
as
were
though they got blown out. You know what I mean?
no, they were both close. It's just if we're getting right now, we're getting into the minutia of a couple of
Correct.
points. So
Yeah.
that's a difference in the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right, back to the Hall of Fame. Marshawn Lynch.
I feel like I don't think his play will necessarily get him in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he was good enough for long enough, but people love Marshawn Lynch. They love Marshawn Lynch, and he's an interesting guy. Now, he only made the Pro Bowl, 5 times, was an All-Pro once. Like, he was a good player for a long time, but I just don't know if that's enough to get him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think he's going to be. I think his game is like he might be the best player in the Hall, best running back in the Hall of very good.
Yeah,
because he's just it's like I feel like he just missed on a couple. Like he has the awesome Beast Quake game, but it was the Seattle team that didn't do anything after that. Which obviously shouldn't be held against him too much because he was really good and he had that moment. But and then you've got. He's most known in 2014 for being the guy who didn't get the ball at the end of the game. If he runs in a game-winning touchdown in Super Bowl 49, we're probably having a different conversation right now, but he didn't.
That's correct. Those first 4 years in Seattle were incredible, by the way. Incredible.
He's so good. And I think the media stuff, I think a lot of people like him. I think enough people dislike him, not to counteract that, but it's like, if you got to get an A- to get into the Hall of Fame, he's going to be like a B+ for personality and a B+ for play and a B+ for moments. And it's like he's just short on all of them. If you combine them, it might be an A, but because he doesn't cross that threshold on any of them, I feel like he's going to come up just short.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, those first 4 years, right? 1204 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns. 1590 rushing yards, 11 touchdowns, 1257 and 12 touchdowns, 1306 and 13 touchdowns. And by the way, 12 and 13 in 2013 and 2014 led the NFL. So he was dominant. He was a dominant player, but that's a 4-year stretch. Like that's not long enough. He was very good on Buffalo, but that's a 4-year stretch. It's not long enough in my opinion. So I think ultimately no.
Yeah. Next one. Outside linebacker from Green Bay, Clay Matthews.
I think he'll probably end up getting in. I don't know how much he deserves it. It's funny because I wonder. I'm like, what were his numbers like? And so if you look it up, right? And he finished with his career with 91 sacks. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 years over 10 sacks. That's not a Hall of Famer. Sorry, that's not a Hall of Famer. Like it's not. Good player, really good player, but and he was a pass rusher. He finished his career with,
Yeah, and it's 6 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. He has the Defensive Player of the Year,
right?
Which
that 1 year,
and that was
his second season. That was the other one.
And that's the thing that might help him out is that he won Defensive Player of the year that they won the Super Bowl. That might be a kind of. That might get him over the edge.
Feather in his cap for sure.
He might get in one of the later ballots. He's close. And we got the last one here. And this is I think my favorite. Kicker, Adam Vinatieri.
Oh. If Adam Vinatieri isn't in next year we riot. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's the greatest kicker of all time. He's got all the numbers. And I know Justin Tucker is fantastic. He's a great kicker too. But what Adam did in the biggest moments on the biggest stages will never be topped by another kicker ever. Ever. And so he belongs in the Hall of Fame. He probably won't get in his first year because that just won't happen with a kicker. He will be in. He deserves to be in. He's the best kicker of all time. And it's just, you go back to 2006 and it's like, didn't they win a playoff game like 15-9 or something like that, where they kicked all field goals and they just that's, so you look at it and just think like, if they have Vanderchoke still and they don't have Vinatieri, they don't even make it to that Super Bowl. Never mind win. Yeah. So,
by the way, I had no idea because a little context here. Young as a Patriots fan, 03, 04. So my only like real memories of those years, for the most part, are of watching them on like the Super Bowl DVDs.
Right.
And when they talk about the 04 season that starts with Mike Vanderjagt missing a field goal to win, all they do is call him the outspoken Colts kicker.
It's true.
And as a kid, I had no idea what that meant. And then later on, as an adult, I'm on the Wikipedia and I happen to look him up to be like, oh, what did this guy do?
Yep.
You find out, he's just talking trash for no reason.
Absolute lunacy.
Like, well, what is this dude up to?
Yep. So, anyways, that's the story there. I think. I mean,
Vinatieri should be in.
Yeah, 100%. And again, like I said, he probably won't be in first ballot, but he 100% deserves to be in.
Well, like he's not the best kicker ever. He just isn't. Statistically, no.
Right.
But he has two things. He's got longevity, and he's incredibly important to the history of the NFL. Just like how with Eli, like you can't tell the story of the last 2 decades of the NFL without his name being brought up in an important way. You can't tell the story of the most successful dynasty in the history of this sport without Adam Vinatieri being a key part of it. And for that reason alone, I mean, I think it's hard to leave him out.
Yeah, true. I agree. So, all right.
Super Bowl?
Yeah, let's get in the Super Bowl. So, obviously, Chiefs, Niners. Who you got, man? Who you got? Well, actually, you want to do favorite prop bets first because I got a few prop bets that are really fun. But we can talk about
Are we supposed to pick prop bets because I did not pick them? I can.
No. You don't have to. I'm in a little prop bet challenge, and they had a few that I was like, ooh, I hadn't seen that one before. That's really interesting.
Let's do the prop bets first, and we'll make people wait and stick around for our predictions.
I like it. So here's a really cool prop bet that I haven't seen anywhere, and I'm sure it's somewhere out there. Okay, first touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, jersey number over 22.5.
Oh, I love this one.
That's so cool. How cool is that, man?
So there's I'll probably tweet it out at some point or whatever. But there's some dude who makes prop betting sheets every year for this. I don't know if anybody's ever done. I don't know if you've done this, Pat. But like
I'm doing a prop betting. This is what. Yeah, my buddies made a prop betting sheet, and that was on it, and I was like, "That's so cool! I hadn't seen that one before."
Because it's on the prop betting sheet I do at the Super Bowl every year, the jersey number. And there's one I know out there where the guy does it. He makes it every year. There's a QR code you can scan that brings you to the answers. I just print them out and do it with my buddies, and we do it during the game.
So cool.
So I've been betting this one for like a decade now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think because it's who goes into the end zone.
Correct. So it's not. So if it was one of the quarterbacks, it'd have to be running. Yeah. But then you look at the wide receivers. You think, okay, Rashee Rice.
4.
MVS.
Under. I don't remember what his number is.
19
11?
or whatever it is. But he's under, right? Pacheco.
Under.
That for the Chiefs, right? Those guys are under. Everyone else is over.
But the most popular target is Kelsey.
That's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. Now, on San Fran, you have Debo. You have Ayuk.
Under.
Right? Purdy, obviously, right? If he decides to do something. And then
under.
And no, 22.5. That's what makes it interesting. Is that
doesn't McCaffrey wear? Is he 23?
23. He was 23.
I forgot.
So
I thought he was 23.
So that's what makes it interesting. Is that you're like, well, there's a lot of interesting options under 22.5. That you're like,
so it's
the 2 most popular options are probably going to be Kelsey and McCaffrey. You kind of have to go over.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's you're basically betting. Will the first touchdown be by McCaffrey, Kittle, or Kelsey, or the field? I'll take the field. I'll take the under.
Okay. I like it. I think I'm going to go over on that one. The coin toss, by the way, everyone understands, right? I hope you understand that Slaters call heads. That means Patriots fans call heads. If you're picking the coin toss, you're picking heads. Don't be a schmuck and pick tails. Pick heads.
I believe I actually saw some research somewhere recently that suggested coin tosses aren't a true 50-50, and there is a slight bias too. There's like a tiny bias towards, I think, whichever side is up when you flip it.
I think you're right. About that.
It's tiny. It's like 51-49 type of thing. But
not even. It's like probably 50.0000001.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 49.9999999. Right. So,
but I'll take heads.
I also think too that it depends on. So like I remember. So I teach math, obviously, and I remember the 2016 Super Bowl, and Slater called heads, and it went tails. So they lost the coin toss. Okay, at the beginning of the game. So the second time rolls around, and I'm like, listen, consecutive probability says that the probability of flipping a coin twice and getting the same thing is actually 1 out of 4 because you have 4 chances, right? And so therefore, you have a better chance of getting heads the second time you flip the coin. Now, obviously, it doesn't work out that way, but technically, that's what it was. And so I said, freaking go with heads, and he went with heads again, and they got it. So, and by the way, Thad just mentioned it, but I did see it pop up on my thing. DeMar Hamlin did not win Comeback Player of the Year. It was Joe Flacco, which by the way, I think is the right decision. I think Joe Flacco winning is the right decision. He came off the couch. He played fantastic. DeMar Hamlin, obviously, great story. But you feel like it kind of cheapens it a little bit.
Isn't the entire point of the award for people like coming back from injury or whatever? Like I don't.
Yes, but DeMar Hamlin played in like 1 game, maybe.
I thought he played. He played special teams. I think just not as much defense.
Maybe
he was the core. Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but
I don't know. I looked at it and just thought like DeMar Hamlin's just not whatever. And it's fine.
One thing I do wonder, it seems like DeMar has kind of shied away from the attention around it, which I get. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't want to think about that day. He doesn't like being reminded of it. So I do wonder if maybe he didn't want the award and that was made known behind the scenes.
By the way, he played in 5 games.
Was it really only 5?
Yeah.
Because he was on their special teams in the playoffs. So obviously, infamously on their special teams in that game against the Chiefs with the fake punt. But I'm a little shocked that was Flacco, to be honest.
Yeah. And TJ, I'm not sure how you're not seeing the chat. I'm not sure.
There's 2 YouTube channels. That's why.
Oh yes.
2 different chats.
So, got it. Bingo. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. There's our Patriot Nation network
TJ
channel.
TJ must be looking on ours, and we love you, TJ. Thank you very much for watching on our stream. We appreciate that.
Most are on the CLNS one.
Most are on the CLNS one. Yes. Yeah, that's what I would think. So that's why. Yes, we see all the chats in our thing, but he may not see. He only sees the one that he's in. So, let's see. Other one was a 2-point play, either a safety or a conversion. That was fascinating. That was an interesting one, either yes or no, of course. I feel like I want to go yes on that. I don't know.
Why not? I'll go.
Yeah,
yes.
What the heck, right? You know what I mean? Longest successful field goal over 40.5 yards.
Yes.
I would say yes, right? 40.5 is pretty small.
Here's the thing. Jake Moody has been a little inconsistent for the 49ers.
True.
That does make me stay a little bit. But I'll still go over.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah. Missed extra point by either kicker. I'm like, total sacks over 4.5. That's an interesting one. Total sacks overall in the game. Mahomes has been sacked, once in the playoffs? Maybe twice? He hadn't been sacked before the Ravens game. I know that. He might have been sacked twice in the Ravens game.
If there's going to be sack, I think it's going to be of Purdy, not of Mahomes, even though Joe Tooney is probably out.
Yeah. So 4.5, I don't know.
I think I'll take the under.
Okay. All right. Okay. Will Taylor Swift be wearing a Kelsey top? Whether it's a jersey, a jacket, or some sort of shirt or something that has Travis Kelce on it. Will Taylor Swift be wearing something with like Travis Kelce on it?
Obviously.
I don't know. He hasn't in every game.
It's the Super Bowl.
I would say yes. You kind of have to say yes on that one, right? So, and then 2 more. Go ahead.
Before we get to that, the voting for the comeback player of the year, DeMar Hamlin got more first place votes than Joe Flacco.
Really? And Flacco got more overall.
Yes.
That's interesting. Yeah,
okay. It wasn't close. It was 21-13 for first place.
Yeah.
But then Flacco got 26 second place votes.
Yeah, so the people that didn't vote for Hamlin at first, for first place, didn't vote for him at all. That's interesting.
Or voted for. He got a lot of votes for third. It was 21-7-14 was his split. So it seems like everybody was either he's definitely the comeback player of the year, or
Where they
he
were on the
deserves a
fence.
vote, but he isn't because he didn't play that much.
Right. I get it. Okay. Well, there you go.
That's
I think that
that's
kind
wild.
of makes sense. I think that kind of makes
I
sense.
get it, but that's a little weird on that one.
I agree. All right, three more. Total combined punts over 7.5.
That's a lot of punts.
It is a lot of punts, but for both
For
teams
both
now.
of these defenses, I'm going to take the under because
Okay.
I think we get some turnovers in there too.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Total combined touchdowns over 5.5.
Over.
Okay. All right. And the last one is the team to score last wins the game. Yes or no?
I'm going to say no.
It's an interesting one. That's an interesting
Yeah.
one, right? Because it's either you're up and you increase your lead, right? Or you're down and you score to win the game, right? And so that's interesting. But if you say no, that's fascinating. Did you say no or yes?
I said no because I
said no.
think
That's
so.
interesting.
And we can start talking about the prediction, but while I think these two teams are very close, I kind of feel like one team will get out to a double-digit point lead, and then the other team will try and fail to make a comeback.
Yeah.
So we might see, a game that's
Interesting.
21-10, and a team scores a touchdown and with 2 minutes left and doesn't get the onside kick type of thing.
Right. Yeah, and that could be a 2-point conversion there. 21-10, they go for 2.
Yeah.
Right? Get it?
21-18 final for the Super Bowl.
21-18. It's interesting. It's an interesting one. So I think one of my squares is like 2-5, but I have 4-1 in one of them, which is good. So we'll see. So, all right, we've waited long enough. Prediction time, and then we'll do our this week in sports history and get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Going first?
Who do you got? You going first, baby?
I hate to say it, but I'm going to take.
Everyone should know who I'm picking already.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs here, and I don't like it. But these teams are kind of trending in different directions. You had the 49ers defensive coordinator calling out effort after the NFC Championship game. And meanwhile, basically all of the holes with the Chiefs during the regular season seem to have been mostly fixed. The offense is playing a lot better now that they know who their receivers are and who they can depend on. And Rashee Rice has kind of come into his own. And Travis Kelce and Chris Jones, took their game up like 2 notches now that we're into the playoffs, and they were clearly coasting a bit in the regular season. And the biggest issue, the Chiefs have had issues on the ground with that run defense. Chris Jones deciding that he's going to care about the run now, I think helps them a ton there. And then you look on the other side of the field, and it's a 49ers front that has not done great against the run in these playoffs. And I won't be shocked if, we see the Chiefs run the ball pretty well in this game and control the clock. And it's a low-scoring game, maybe, but maybe they gash some runs. I don't know. But I do think the Chiefs end up doing it. I'm rooting for the Niners, but I think the Chiefs end up doing it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that Skywalker's got Niners in a blowout, 31-13. And your dad has the Niners 27-25. That's an interesting one.
I like it. So is that a 2-point conversion to try to tie it that they don't get?
Wait, wouldn't that be fascinating? That'd be wild.
I like that.
All right, and I'm going to go with Chiefs. I told you this already, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I've been telling you. I'm picking the Chiefs. Why am I picking the Chiefs? I'm picking the Chiefs because I desperately want the Chiefs to lose. But I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not doing it. And either way, I'm going to be happy at the end of the day, right? Either the Chiefs are going to win, and I'm going to win money, and I'll be pissed if they won, but whatever, I'll win money. Or the Chiefs are going to lose, and I'll be happy they lost. And I don't care about losing money. So, so either way, I'm going to end my night happy on Sunday. And so I'm picking the Chiefs. I recommend all of you to pick the Chiefs as well, because God dang it, losing your bet just isn't fun. Just don't have necessarily skin in the game. It's not like the Patriots are playing. Just bet the Chiefs and don't worry about
it. Yeah. You want to know what bet I thought was interesting? I heard earlier this week. I was listening to one of the Ringer podcasts. I think it was Ben Solak who brought it up.
Okay.
They were talking about what are the odds that the MVP of this year's Super Bowl is a running back.
Ooh.
Because if it's the Niners, I think Christian McCaffrey getting it obviously is a very realistic possibility. And if it's Kansas City, and let's say this turns into a low-scoring game,
Yeah.
uh, and it's a 49ers run defense that's been tough. If Isaiah Pacheco, runs for 150 yards with 2 touchdowns,
22.
and Mahomes throws 1 touchdown, Pacheco could get it. He's a good enough player in a situation like this that I could totally see him doing it. So I think it's at plus money. If you want to bet a little money on that as a side thing for one of those guys to get it, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a really, really good point. Pacheco is a guy that I could certainly see winning it, especially if he does something. I mean, look at Sony Michel. No, Sony Michel didn't win it. Obviously, Julian Edelman won it, but him and Rex were rotating back and forth, right? Rex had that long run in the fourth quarter. If Sony just happens to be in the game, I mean, Rex didn't do anything special in that. He just ran through a wide open hole. Yeah. If Sony happens to be in the game in that situation and picks up that 30 yards, he ends up with like 115 yards rushing, and the game's only touchdown. He wins MVP, right? And so I could certainly see a situation where Pacheco, kind of sneaks in and wins it. So Mahomes maybe has an up and down game, and
they might just this is a 49ers defense that's good in coverage. They're good at they're going to make you check it down. I think a ton. I think if the Chiefs are getting big plays, it's going to be on the ground. That's going to be how they're going to have to get it. So yeah, no, I think that's an interesting thing.
I like it. About. I like it. Good, and like you said, plus money. It's good money there. You throw a few bucks on him to win MVP, and
if you want to
you win some money if he wins. What are you gonna do? Bet on Patrick Mahomes? Patrick Mahomes is it's probably like minus 120. Like, what are you gonna do with that?
And that's no fun. I think one of the fun parts about betting during a game like this too is throwing little amounts of money that could win big and just sprinkling it around, and it gives you something fun, a mini game to root for during the game.
Exactly. Just like, and I mentioned this already. I actually mentioned this in the ad. Offensive lineman touchdown. Come on. That would be legendary. An offensive lineman touchdown would be fantastic.
Well, we know, Andy Reid has some weird stuff dialed up. He always does.
Teams do, right? Both these teams do weird stuff every now and again. So you never know. Yeah. So
but I like what DJ said in the chat here about Kyle Shanahan. He deserves it. He looks exhausted and stressed.
He does.
I think Kyle Shanahan could have been in the conversation for Coach of the Year this year. Yeah. I think it's if you look at what the 49ers offense did and no coaches involved, like no players and no coaches are winning awards for what they did this year, I think is kind of wild.
I know. I agree.
I think Kyle Shanahan has done a fantastic job. He's been there before. Narrative-wise, I hope the 49ers get it because I think it's fun if Brock does it. Kyle Shanahan finally getting one after being such a good coach for all this long, getting over the hump
would be awesome.
Is fun. Awesome. Yeah. Getting revenge for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago between these teams, I think it's more interesting when they split them, especially because these teams might be back again in the near future. And I like the idea that it's an even fight. I think that's more fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we'll see. Anyways, and look, the last time the Chiefs beat the Niners in the Super Bowl, the world ended a month later. So maybe if the 49ers beat the Chiefs, things might end up differently. So anyways. All right, you want to get into? You have a trivia question lined up?
I do. I got a quick one here.
So let's do trivia, and then we'll do this weekend sports history, and we'll get the heck out of here.
Yeah, no trivia last week since we didn't do a Thursday show. Our last trivia was end of January, and the question about which Patriot wore the number 25 in his first stint with the team, who later went on to win 3 Super Bowls with the team. That was Patrick Chung. I actually have 2 winners written down here, and I think we'll just put it because you got texted one of them, and the other one put it in the chat.
I did. That's true. Yep.
So his dad got it there, and Thad Skywalker got that one a couple weeks ago. We're going to keep this super simple. I think everybody's going to be able to get this one, so whoever can get it first, jump on it. Against which Steelers quarterback did Rodney Harrison return an interception for a touchdown to help the Patriots advance in the playoffs?
Love it.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Got to do a Rodney one on a Hall of Fame day.
Yeah, why not? Right? Why not? I like it.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate.
That Steelers quarterback.
It's unfortunate that he's not in the Hall of Fame yet. He should be. It's unfortunate he isn't. But what are you gonna do? Yeah. So all right. Hold on. Here we go. Ready.
And now for something we think you'll really like. This Week in Sports History.
All right. This week in sports history. Would you like to go first, sir, or you want me to go first?
I can go first because I just read this. This is from my page today calendar because I had today's page earlier. This is a wild one. Let me tell you this, Pat. You're not going to see what's going on here.
Oh boy.
February 8th, 1983. And there's a visual with this one. I'll throw up for all the people. So that is the picture.
Ooh, okay.
With it. Right. So you're assuming this is a horse race question, correct?
But it isn't.
2 masked gunmen kidnap Irish racehorse Sugar from the Ballymanny Stud in County Kildare, Ireland. Sugar won the 1981 Epsom Derby by 10 lengths and was named European Horse of the Year. The kidnappers forced James Fitzgerald, Sugar's groom, to load the horse into a double horse box. The abductors demand $3 million in ransom for a horse valued at about $18 million. The horse's multiple owners refuse the criminals' ransom demands. Authorities are never able to identify the culprits, and the location of the horse's remains is still a mystery.
What?
Yeah.
That's wild. That is wild.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a good one. All right. Mine is also from February 8th. This one is 1936. It was the first NFL draft, the very first NFL draft. And the first pick was owned by the Philadelphia Eagles, who drafted halfback Jay Berwanger. And you're like, that's interesting. I've never heard of Jay Berwanger. And maybe I pronounced his name wrong, so maybe that's why you haven't heard of him. But also, he never played in the NFL. He had a dispute with the Eagles. He wanted to be paid $1,000 per game. They said, nope, get the hell out of here. They traded his negotiating rights to the Chicago Bears for tackle, Art Buss, it looks like. He chose not to sign with the Bears because he was training for the decathlon in the 1936 Summer Olympics, which he did not qualify for. Then he went back to the Bears. And they said, yeah, no, we can't figure it out. And so Berwanger requested $15,000. House offered him $13,500. He said no. So he took a job with the Chicago Rubber Company and became a part-time coach at the University of Chicago.
I love those old-timey stories.
What an outrageous. He later expressed regret that he didn't accept House's offer. Oh, you think? Like, what do you mean, dude?
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah. So, there you go. So, how about that?
Yeah. Is that a wrap? Is that a show?
That's a show. That is a show. A few good ones by James about Paul Brown agreeing to coach the new American Football Expansion Team Conference American football team that, of course, became the Cleveland Browns, named after him. So anyways, that's the show. Enjoy the game on Sunday. We'll be back Monday night, obviously recapping the Super Bowl, but also going over mock draft 2.0 from our guy, Matt St. Jean.
Oh, man, I got to get to writing. That is not done yet.
Gotta get that thing out there, brother.
I know what my Friday night looks like. It's going to be writing a mock draft. I'm going to pour myself a nice glass of whiskey and write a mock draft.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Hopefully you guys win a ton of bets, hit some squares, and, we'll come back a little bit richer.
Drive safe too this weekend.
That's correct. If you're driving anywhere, drive safe. It's always a tough night for everyone. So
yes,
if you're driving somewhere, drive safe.
Yes.
So anyways, love you guys. Thank you. And we'll see you on Monday.